Hi everyone, this is Cooking with Kurt. Today my husband Donald and I are going to show you how to make a Chicken Galantina, also called Rellenong Manok. It's a whole chicken that's been deboned and then stuffed with a pork embutido force meat.
This recipe was requested by Maria C. Thanks so much for the request, Maria. We hope you like this video.
To start, we're going to debone a whole chicken. The thing to keep in mind while deboning the chicken is to keep the skin intact as much as possible, since the skin is what will be holding the galantina together. Take a 3.5 to 4 pound chicken and place it breast side up on a chopping board. Try to get a whole chicken that doesn't have any tears in the skin when you buy it. The first thing we're going to do is remove the wishbone. Pull back the skin at the top of the breast towards the neck so it's out of the way. Feel around to locate the triangular wishbone. Using a sharp knife, create 2 diagonal incisions as close to the wishbone as possible. Being careful not to get poked, as the bones may already be broken, using your fingers, pull out the 2 bones that make up the wishbone. Next, we're going to detach the 2 shoulder joints and the upper half of the chicken. Cut off the flat wingtips, as this part tends to burn during roasting. You can save them to make chicken stock or just discard them. Cut the skin of the chicken along the backbone from the neck all the way down to the top of the tail. This will be the only time we'll be cutting the skin, otherwise avoid cutting or tearing the skin as much as possible. Lay the chicken so you have easy access to the top shoulders. Find the shoulder joint towards the top. Peel back any skin if needed, and through the gap where there's no skin, cut this joint so that the chicken wing becomes detached from the main body of the chicken. Reposition the chicken, and repeat this for the shoulder joint on the other side. With the chicken still sitting on its butt so it is upright, holding the neck of the chicken firmly with one hand and your thumb pressing against the back of the carcass, grab one of the detached shoulders with the other hand and pry that shoulder out to the side and back, detaching that side and back of the chicken from the central rib cage until you see the oyster. Do the same thing on the other side. Detach the front of the chicken from the central rib cage completely by putting 2 fingers on either side of the middle breastbone and pull the front flesh all the way down. At this point, the entire upper half of the chicken should be detached from the main central rib cage. Next, we're going to detach the 2 hip joints in the lower half of the chicken. Lay the chicken on its side again. Cut the oyster towards the bottom of the chicken. Swivel the thigh up as if bringing the knee of the chicken towards its head, then pry the thigh down so the hip joint cracks open. Use a knife to completely detach this hip joint and pull the leg away from the central rib cage. Lay the chicken on its other side and repeat this for the hip joint on the other side. At this point, you can completely pull the central rib cage and bottom carcass off, separating the outer body of the chicken, which should be held together by the skin. Take the central rib cage you just separated and use your fingers to carefully detach the 2 fillets from either side of the central breastbone. Do this for both fillets and set the fillets aside for now. To debone the legs, use a sharp knife to cut the meat around the tip of the thigh bone towards the hip joint until the tip of the bone is exposed. Use the knife to scrape the flesh down the bone until the entire thigh bone is exposed and you reach the knee. Similarly, cut the meat around the knee joint, then scrape the flesh down the leg bone until you reach about 1 inch away from the end of the leg bone. When you've scraped the flesh down to the last inch of the leg bone, tuck the bone into the meat to fold the meat right side out again. Use the back of a heavy knife, I'm using the back of a metal santoku blade, to break the bone at that point. Remove the leg and thigh bone. Repeat these steps with the other side to remove the other leg and thigh bone. To debone the wings, hold one wing at the base of the elbow joint and use a knife to cut around the meat at the shoulder joint, which has already been detached. Then just using your fingers, push the meat down towards the elbow joint. When you reach the elbow joint, pull the bone out. It should detach from the elbow joint easily, but you can use a knife if needed. Repeat these steps with the other side to remove the other wing bone. At this point, the chicken should be fully deboned except for the two leg nubs and the middle wing bones. The skin of the chicken will shrink as it roasts, so we're keeping on the two leg nubs and the middle wing bones to help the chicken keep its shape while baking.
The next step is to marinate the chicken. Take a non-reactive bowl like glass or stainless steel, add 1/4 cup soy sauce, 1/4 cup white vinegar, 1 cup of water, 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon ground black pepper, 5 cloves of smashed garlic, and 1 bay leaf. Mix this well so that the sugar gets dissolved into the liquid. Add the deboned chicken into the bowl, making sure that it is submerged in the liquid, and cover with plastic wrap. We're going to let this marinate in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours. After marination, remove the chicken from the marinade and place it skin side up on a flat surface. We're using a chopping board lined with paper towels. Pat the skin side with paper towels as well. Let this air dry at room temperature for 1 hour. This is also a good stopping point, so if you want to, you can leave your deboned and marinated chicken in the fridge overnight. Just be sure to bring it to room temperature before baking it. Letting the surfaces of the chicken dry out completely will result in crispier skin. While we're waiting for the chicken to dry out and come to room temperature, we're going to prepare the pork embutido stuffing. In a small mixing bowl, add in 1/2 cup of ground pork, about 1/4 pound, 2 tablespoons of crushed pineapple, 2 tablespoons of pickled relish, 2 tablespoons of minced Kalamata olives, 1/4 cup of grated gouda or edam cheese, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of minced yellow onion, 2 tablespoons of minced carrots, 2 tablespoons of diced chorizo, 1/2 teaspoon of table salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Mix this together until the pork mixture is well combined. With the texture of minced meat, I find it easier to mix this by hand. Then cover with plastic wrap. Let this pork mixture come to room temperature about 1 hour so that it cooks more evenly inside the chicken.
And this will make just enough stuffing to put in the chicken galantina. If you have excess ingredients, you can double or triple this pork embutido mixture and just cook the stuffing in a roll of foil by steaming it just like you would pork embutido without the chicken.
Next, we're going to show you how to make perfectly cooked hard-boiled eggs that are easy to peel. Take a small saucepan, place 2 small eggs in it, and fill it up with enough cool to room temperature tap water so that there's about 1/2 inch of water over the eggs. Turn on the heat to medium heat and let the water come to a boil. When the water starts to boil, immediately turn off the heat and put a lid on. Let the eggs continue cooking for 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, transfer the eggs into an ice bath. After a minute in the ice bath, carefully peel the eggs. Set them aside to let them continue coming to room temperature.
When the deboned chicken, pork embutido, and hard-boiled eggs have come to room temperature, we're ready to assemble our chicken galantina. Remove the paper towel lining the chopping board and flip the deboned chicken over so the skin side is down. Spread the chicken so that the chicken is flat and the thickness of the meat is as even as possible throughout. Lay the 2 breast fillet pieces in a diagonal V shape right above the 2 thighs. It should fill the gap and make the thickness of the flattened chicken more even. Once you have an even layer of skin and even layer of chicken meat, push a little stuffing into the leg cavities. Do not overstuff the legs, as the stuffing will expand while cooking. Spread stuffing evenly over the flattened chicken surface. Place the 2 hard-boiled eggs in the middle of the chicken. Then fold the sides of the chicken over the eggs, overlapping slightly. Carefully invert the chicken so that the seam side is down. Tuck any overhanging skin over the top neck region, as well as the bottom tail region, so that it helps to seal any holes or gaps. Cross the legs. Take a long piece of cooking twine, about 3 arm spans in length, 3, and cut it. Tie a double knot around the end of the legs so that one end of the string is short, about 2 inches, and the other end is very long, the remaining length of twine. Take the string over the top of the chicken, create a big loop with the string, tie a simple half-hitch knot, but just don't tighten it yet. Slide the loop around and under the chicken towards the legs, stopping about 1 inch from the initial double knot. Tighten the half-hitch knot at the top center part of the chicken. Be careful not to tighten it too much, as the stuffing will expand a little while roasting. Repeat this process along the length of the chicken until the chicken is secured by repeating rungs of twine around the side of the chicken. At this point, there should be butcher's twine running along the top middle part of the chicken with half-hitch knots along the center. When you reach the end of the cylindrical chicken shape, gently invert the chicken so the seam side is now up. Retuck any overhanging skin that might have come loose and try to tuck in any stuffing that may be sticking out. Use the twine to seal the bottom of the seam of the chicken by looping the twine around the rungs one by one, going down the length of the chicken so that there are half-hitch knots along the seam, just like the other side of the chicken. When you reach the other end of the cylindrical chicken shape, the end with the legs, tie the loose end of the twine around the legs again, using the short 2-inch end of twine that was used to create the initial double knot. Tie another double knot to secure the twine. Trim off any excess twine at this point. Melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a microwave-safe bowl, about 30 seconds in a microwave. Add in 1/4 teaspoon of paprika and mix this together. Baste the skin on this seam side of the chicken with the butter mixture. Invert and transfer the chicken so it is seam side down onto a metal rack over a baking tray to catch the drippings. Baste the skin with the butter paprika mixture on this other side so that all the outer surfaces of the chicken are covered. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to roast this Chicken Galantina at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 1.5 to 2 hours, or until the pork and chicken reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Check with the meat thermometer at the 1.5 hour mark. It is done when it reads 165 degrees Fahrenheit at the thickest part. If it's not yet done, return it to the oven and keep checking every 15 minutes. When it's done, rest the chicken for at least 15 minutes before carving.
While you're waiting for your chicken to rest, you can make a gravy to accompany your Chicken Galantina. Take a small saucepan and add in the drippings from the roasting tray, scraping any bits of crisped up skin and oils. Add in 1 cup of chicken broth and ½ a cup of whole milk. Then whisk in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, breaking up any lumps in the flour. Bring this to a simmer over medium heat while continuing to whisk. When it starts to boil, add in 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme and continue cooking for another 5 to 10 minutes until it thickens to your desired consistency.
When the Chicken Galantina has rested for 15 minutes, cut off and remove the twine. Carve the meat into approximately 1-inch slices and serve with gravy as desired. There it is. Chicken Galantina, also known as Rellenong Manok. Spoon the gravy on top. Ang sarap!
Yum!
Love that pork embutido.
And all the flavors from the chicken and pork really come together.
Thank you all so much for watching. Please let us know in the comment section below if you're planning to make this chicken galantina. Send us pictures of your creations on Facebook and Instagram. The links are below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Cooking with Kurt.
And don't forget to click on the bell so you get notified when we post new cooking videos. Maraming salamat!